All right, everybody, welcome back to the Stories and Songs podcast. As always, I'm your host, Tim Ash, and today I welcome my friend Toby Ellis to the studio. Welcome, brother.
Hey, Tim, thanks for having me.
Absolutely, man. Thanks for coming. Toby is an anomaly of sorts, in my opinion, because he has done punk rock, rock and roll. What else? What all have you done? Let's just do it that way. Let's tell everybody who you are and what you've done.
Well, it's in Evansville. I started out probably at the Ross Center, the Ross Theater scene, right, playing with the punk rock and goth bands back in the late '80s. Moved to Cincinnati and continued to do some things there. Kind of was more alternative, and then kind of started doing things kind of in the like blues and Americana kind of genre. And then so that's kind of what I'm doing now. It's just all of those things just kind of muddled together,
like an amalgamation of that's
yeah.
what I was getting to. It's really cool, man. And then you also do theater stuff, like you've done Rocky Horror Picture Show. And
So I play guitar with the Stage 2 Theater Company. Sometimes I've done Rocky Horror a couple of times for them. We did Rent, it's kind of like a theater production, which is nice. I like being able to play and not be the thing, right? Somebody else is the thing. I can just, play guitar. That's fun sometimes.
You can be in the background and just
Not that I don't like to be the thing. I like being the thing.
Sure.
But
when it's your turn to be the thing.
When it's my turn, I'm ready. But
right.
Otherwise, it's nice to kind of just sit back and play. So,
yeah, cool. Very cool, man. So what else do you have going on? You have your solo project, you and the band, right?
Right. So I do stuff solo, like with just a guitar and voice, right? So just by my thing. So I'll do things like that, and that's kind of like one set of material, and then some of that bleeds over into the band. Now, at one time we were called the Crash Chords until summer of last year, and we had to change the name because of a conflict with another creator. So it was no big deal, and so now we're just Toby, Ellis, and the Breakdown. So that's what we're doing now. So
yeah, and who's in that project with you? Local guys.
Corey Foltz playing bass. Honey Roy Carter's playing keyboards.
Oh, nice.
And then Steve Bennett's playing drums.
Nice.
So, yeah.
Very cool. Four-piece.
Four-piece, four on the floor,
And you do all the vocals?
Corey sings too. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. There's never anything wrong with Corey singing.
No, he's got a beautiful voice.
Well, he's kind of like that secret weapon, right? Obviously, because he plays in like 4 or 5 bands.
Yeah.
Everybody goes, well, if we get Corey Foltz in the band, then we could do all this stuff that we couldn't do otherwise.
Yeah. Well, he's one of those musicians where he has the rare ability just to make it look easy,
He's just been doing it
very
so long.
effortless, and he's such a nice guy, and he's just fun to hang out with,
Yeah, man, he's a good hang, for sure. Yeah. He's a great dude. We spent way too much time in these chairs a few weeks ago together,
oh, really?
as I said. Yeah, his podcast actually hits tonight, so it'll be up tonight.
Oh, cool.
You can go home and watch it.
Yeah, I will.
Yeah, I'm going to go home and upload it. So awesome. Well, man, I am so thankful and glad that you're here. It's I think we talked about this before we started, that we've never really met, just a couple times in passing. We've seen each other play in gigs before, but I stopped you on your way out of Target one evening with one of your daughters and was like, "Hey, man, I know we don't know each other, but I'm starting this podcast and I'd love to have you on it." And you're like, "Yeah, man, just shoot me a message. Let's do it." So, and I'm finding, I'm finding that's kind of everybody's response. Corey's answer to that is, well, everybody loves to talk about themselves, right? So
that's very true. Yeah,
yeah,
that's very true.
But it's cool for me, because I feel like, I've had people call me the Kevin Bacon of the music scene around here because I know everybody and I'm somehow attached, even just by a thread, with some people. But everybody I called and everybody I messaged said yes.
Oh, so cool. Very cool.
I'm booked until like late October.
Nice.
With podcasts every Wednesday and every Sunday. And then I'm doing these trips to Nashville, different festivals this summer. So
busy.
Yeah, and I'm really hoping for good things, man, because, I have no aspirations financially with this by any means, but man, I love it. I love talking to people and getting different perspectives and finding out what people are about, and at first I thought, yeah, man, I'll have all this wisdom to bestow on people and all this. I'm like, wow, I don't know anything.
Yeah. Well, I hope you're not expecting that from me.
Well, I think I'll get some of it, man, whether you think so or not. But I think that's a testament, and Corey and I talked about this too, of maturity, right? Going, it's not about me anymore. And, living as younger guys, we both probably had the aspiration of, well, this is what I'm going to do. And a lot of guys our age, I feel like we're close in age. A lot of guys our age are like, okay, this is what I do, this one thing, and this is what I'm going to do until I'm done. But we think outside of that box, right? As musicians and artists and creatives, you have to. And in the ever-changing landscape that we live in now, you got to be ready, just like we were talking about OBS and live streams and stuff.
Yeah. You got to know the tools. And it's incredible to me, like the quality of what can be done in terms of like home recording stuff. I have a little home recording thing. I've been recording the home for years.
Yeah. So what do you use?
Kind of a humble studio, Universal Audio hardware, and then run whatever Pro Tools or Logic.
Yeah. Do you have the Volt, or do you have a heavier duty? Or
I have an Apollo.
Okay, so you have the real deal.
Yeah, so I have like a rack mount Apollo. It's the last generation, but man, it sounds really great. I mean, it's unbelievable the quality that's available to today's musicians for the amount of money.
100%, man.
Yeah.
Now, I've always gone to Nashville and tracked everything. So I go down and use a band down there, professional musicians, track everything I want to track, then I bring it back here and build off of it.
Right.
So I get a good foundation for $1,200, and then I bring it back and build everything else on top of that. And then I'll go out to Black Cat and finalize everything. So.
Yeah.
But it is cool to be able to do it from home. I've done that on a few songs.
Yeah.
But for me, it's taking the time to do it. If I find that, because I'm so busy, I have so much going on, that for me, it's very economical to go down there and track it and then bring it home.
Yeah. The one thing that I like most about like having someone else do the recording, right? Like have a recording engineer where so like I'm not the guy doing it. Most of the time I'm the guy doing it. But when it's not, it's like I can think about the one thing at a time. Like all I have to worry about is my performance and my playing. I've gone to the studio with other people where I was in engineering, and it's been nice to just be able to focus on that. But then again, I've been doing it for so long at home that to just kind of plug in and like get some kind of a thing and start playing. Like I've been doing that for so long, it doesn't seem awkward anymore.
Yeah,
I can just get going. When I need to. So.
Yeah, I find that too, man. I'll go up I have a little studio at home up in my attic space, and I'll go up there and do the same thing. And 5 hours later, I'm like, oh my gosh, I've been up here for 5 hours. 2 o'clock in the morning, my kids and wife went to bed, and I'm like, holy crap, man.
I know exactly what that is like.
I have some rapid fire questions.
Okay.
We've already got started, really, but a lot of my listeners are like, dude, I love the rapid fire. Let's keep those going. So
okay,
I'm going to give those to you first, and you just tell me the first thing that comes to your mind.
Okay.
Sweet or salty?
Salty.
Okay. Coke or Pepsi?
Coke.
Tea or coffee?
Coffee.
That's always the answer there. Hot weather or cold weather?
Hot weather.
Okay. Glass half full or glass half empty kind of guy?
Half full. I always thought of it is like the glass is however it was in motion. So if it was being filled, it's half full, right? If it's being emptied, it's half empty. Well, I would prefer to think of it as being half filled, right?
Me too.
Yeah.
I just try to take a positive look on it,
Yeah.
I feel like that's the half full side of it. So, all right, here's an important one. Van Halen or Van Hagar?
Van Halen, man.
Okay.
Yeah, Van Halen. Yeah.
Tell me your reasons why.
Oh man, it's hard. Van Halen just has a really it holds a dear place in my heart. Like when Eddie Van Halen as a guitar player came out, like I'm trying to think of how old I was at the time. Maybe 12 or something, 11 or 12. And the first time I heard Van Halen 1, I mean, it was like
That's right, yeah.
It was like nothing I had heard. I mean, it was so just immediately satisfying, and the guitar playing's incredible and just kind of over the top rock band, so that's, and I like Van, even though it kind of like I listened to, that wasn't really, I didn't listen to a lot of that like really popular hard rock, but it's one of the bands that I've just always tracked with, from like the 70s and 80s that like them, like AC/DC is another one where like for some reason that just really appealed to me at the time. But I was mostly listening to like punk rock and stuff like that. But
I think we were different ends of the coin when it came to that, because I was into punk rock. I loved like the Dead Kennedys and the Dead Milkmen, and Suicidal Tendencies is still one of my favorite bands. But I was more of a when the hair metal came in, because I was a tenor and a vocalist. So when all that came in, I jumped on that bandwagon, all the Pretty Boy stuff. But
I had some of those bands I liked a lot. Like I thought the first Rat album was like genius, man, from beginning to end. A lot of that music I didn't really connect with, but like Rat was killer, like that record in particular.
Yeah, Robin Crosby's a great guitar player, man.
Yeah, man.
And DeMartini, right?
Warren DeMartini, yeah.
Lead guy.
Yeah, excellent.
Yeah.
But yeah. So, but I, mostly it was like I was never really like, I can't really say I played like in a punk rock band, but it was like alternative bands that were kind of adjacent to that, because that's the, just like that scene.
Sure. Okay. Who's your favorite singer of all time?
Oh, man. All right. It's probably Chris Cornell.
Nice.
If I had to pick one. Now I like a lot of different singers for different reasons. He's a specific type of singer, but he's so good at it.
Yeah.
Right. And but I mean, I like the way David Gilmour sings, just very smooth and kind of melodic. He's probably up there.
So you can give me your top five then. So Chris Cornell, David
Gilmour. Oh gosh, who else do I really like the singing of? Neil Young. I really like the way Neil Young sings, even though a lot of times he's not really even in tune. Sometimes he's out, but it just is the character of his voice.
Yeah, he delivers a song very well.
David Bowie, for sure, would be up at the top of the list of singers. I'm not sure who else. Maybe Freddie Mercury, somebody like that.
Okay.
But those are like a specific, rock kind of singer guy,
Sure.
So Chris Cornell kind of just wraps a lot of that up and has a good, I don't know, like kind of not a metal voice, but he can do that,
but he can also do like the acoustic thing, and
he can do that too. Yeah, he's a great singer.
Yeah,
so.
He's in my top five easily.
Yeah.
I like him. I like Eddie Vedder, Willie Nelson.
Willie Nelson's a really good singer. Yeah,
and it's more for delivery, right, than for vocal quality.
Right. Yeah,
nobody can deliver a song like Willie Nelson, man.
Yeah,
just really good.
Yeah, I saw him last summer on the Outlaw Country tour that came through.
Really?
Yeah, he played with ZZ Top, and it was cool. Yeah, good show. So,
was that here
it was in Cincinnati at Riverfront.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah,
very cool, man. Yeah. So, what's the best live show you've ever been to?
Man, the best live show that I have ever been to, ready, is Fishbone and a Tribe Called Quest.
Wow.
And that would have been in like '93 or something like that. I have never been to any show of any style of music where the musicians and the crowd were like that into what was going on. It was like so much fun. So
Fishbone, man.
Yeah, Fishbone awesome. And Tribe Called Quest. That's not even like my main, whatever genres of music. I've seen Nick Cave a couple of times, and Nick Cave puts on an unbelievable
He's
show.
Fantastic, man.
It's just different. It's not like, what we can become so used to this just polished act, right? Which I like. I like a polished act, right? Sure. But sometimes the has a little more hair on it. It's a little more raw.
Yeah, the humanity of it. Did you go see Jason Isbell a few weeks ago?
Yeah. Yeah. That's the first time I'd ever seen him. Did you get to go to that show?
I didn't. I was in Nashville.
Have you seen him play before?
I have. I love Jason Isbell, man.
Yeah. Yeah, he's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. So. Yeah, his whole band, man.
Yep.
I mean, I put like him and Nick Cave and honestly Chris Stapleton.
Okay.
Those guys kind of up in that upper echelon of untouchable live people that I would love to just sit in a room and hang out with, for sure. Those three guys, for sure.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah. My favorite, the best live, well, I'll tell you, man, I went and saw the Black Crowes. I think it was 2021. They did it was because 2020 was 20 years since the Shake Your Moneymaker album came out. So they were going to do the 20-year reunion, but COVID hit. So they did it in 2021. And do you know Trey Leonard? He's on some Facebook pages we're on together. He plays guitar with me sometimes.
Oh, okay, cool.
But he had tickets, and the day of, his wife, I don't know what happened, she got sick or something, and he called me. He's like, dude, I'm leaving to go to Nashville in 20 minutes. I don't know what you're doing, but if you can go, I got tickets to see the Black Crowes.
Nice.
I'm like, whatever I'm doing doesn't matter right now. I'll put this heart transplant off or whatever. But it was fantastic, man. And a band called Dirty Honey opened.
Okay.
Have you ever heard those guys?
Mm-mm. No.
They're like a mix, like if they're guitar players, like if Joe Perry and Slash had a baby together, that heavy 57 Les Paul,
Yeah.
just great, man. Just a killer band.
Nice.
I'd never heard them. And we were standing there and they dropped their banner and I'm like, who's Dirty Honey? And Trey's like, oh man, you're going to love this band. How about if you could pick your 5 top guitar players?
David Gilmour, Jimmy Page, Mike Campbell, George Harrison. Man, that's tough.
Lil Wayne.
I don't know. What's that?
Lil Wayne.
Yeah, Hendrix, So,
Hendrix, yeah, right on. And I find sometimes people are like, dude, I wasn't ready for some of these questions because you really got to think about it. And the thing you got to remember is this isn't going to be like, you're not changing the course of history by picking 5 and not picking somebody else because you didn't say Eddie Van Halen in those 5, but you probably think he's one of the best.
He's up there at the top. I mean, Eddie Van Halen's one of those guitar players that he changed music. He changed the way people play guitar.
Yeah.
Or at least he was just part of that wave of guys that play that way. But, I mean, there was just, there's like 2 distinct periods of electric guitar playing before Eddie Van Halen and after. So same with Jimi Hendrix, right? He's one of those guys.
Yeah.
But somewhere I like the combination of like, not just about being the like flashy guitar player, but again, like David Gilmour or Mike Campbell or George Harrison, who aren't necessarily like flashy guitar players.
Sure.
But if you took what they did out of the songs,
it wouldn't be the
it
same.
would be huge. There'd be a huge hole there.
Absolutely.
So,
absolutely.
So that's kind of.
And Eddie was a great rhythm player too, man.
Yeah, he was.
His rhythm on top of his lead.
Yeah.
He was.
Oh, yeah.
And keys and vocals. I mean, Wolfgang Van Halen's a testament to how good the vocals were with Eddie because he got that from Eddie. Have you heard Wolfgang's band?
I've seen
Mammoth.
videos him play, but I don't think I've heard his band.
I went and saw him a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
That's where I was the night of Jason Isbell.
Went to see Mammoth.
It was him and Alter Bridge.
Okay.
He opened for Alter Bridge. But he was fantastic, man. Just from start to finish, just blew your face off the whole show, man. It was killer. And it was at the Ryman.
Nice.
So there's no, if you've ever been there, there's no bad seats at the Ryman.
Oh, yeah, I've been to the Ryman.
Yeah, unless you sit on the floor under the balcony right in front of a pole.
Right.
And then that's a bad seat, but you just got to look around. But
yeah.
we were up in the top, so it was really good. Anyway, all right, man, let's get into some more stuff here. So you have a day job.
I do.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so this question is relevant, but I'm going to ask it anyway because it's on my list.
Yeah.
If you hadn't become a musician, what would you be doing?
If I hadn't become a musician, what would I be doing?
Yeah.
Like maybe woodworking or something.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you do that kind of stuff?
Not that that's like a secondary thing, but I try to think of something I would want to do like just with my hands. And I have a lot of my families are in the trades, right?
Sure.
So I probably would have become a carpenter or something like that,
Yeah.
I left home when I was 18. I'm like, I'm going to go play in a rock band. My dad was like, peace,
Yeah. Good luck with that.
Well, my dad was an iron worker, so he worked, like he worked like I've never worked in my life,
Mm-hmm.
and he's like, man, if you can make a living doing that, do it,
Yeah, my dad was a pipe fitter, so same thing.
Very similar, yeah.
Yeah, I actually went down that path for a while
Did
because
you?
my grandfather was one too, so it was like
Yeah.
third generation.
Yep.
But what I found is I'm not very good at that, Really, it was just like,
Yeah.
I don't, a lot of times people were like, oh, well, you're Mike Ash's son, so you must know how to do all this. He probably taught it to you. And I'm like, no. He taught me how to sing harmony and how to play guitar and piano. I could do that all day. So at some point, I'm just like, I'm just going to focus on what I love and what I'm really good at. And it seems to have worked out so far. So that's, but I get it, man. A dad that worked hard. My dad was in the trade he worked for 36 years, And I'm from the time he was 18 till he retired. So
Probably would have done something like that, or maybe like become an electrician or something. I the what I do. My day job is I'm like an IT consultant. Right?
Okay.
So I do a lot of different IT projects for other companies or in the area.
Sure.
And I've been doing that for over 25 years now.
I know a lot of guys that are in music around here do IT work.
Same. Yeah. That's what you do, man. So at the time, I kind of decided that I would do it, and oddly enough, that when I did take like the day job, right, I got more work at night, like after that. So I was playing in bars like 4 nights a week and working like a full-time office job. But like I didn't have a girlfriend or anything at the time, so it was like
sure,
okay, I didn't have anything else to do.
You just dump some time into it.
Yeah. So I get off work and basically leave work and go to the club and eat and then play a show and then go home and sleep and get up and go to work and just
But now, 25 years later, you've kind of set yourself up for success with that, right? Because you work from home, then you can kind of set it up how you want to do it, right?
Yeah, I have an office here, but I can work from home if I need to. So I can so I can do both, right? When of course when they sent everybody home for COVID, I just started working from home then.
Yeah,
set it all up and make sure it was going to work well. And a big part of what I do at work is enable people to do remote work.
Nice.
It is nice, yeah. So it's cool. I like it a lot.
Huh? That's very cool.
But so the difference now is that I play, I don't play nearly as often as I used to. Usually over the summertime when the kids are out of school, I'll book a lot of solo gigs if I can get them.
Sure.
And have the band play. So we're not playing again until June 17th. So
right on.
At the Arts Council. Have you been to the shows they have on the roof there at the Arts Council?
But
oh man, you got to check it out.
Awesome. Yeah. All right. So what is it about music that makes you feel passionate?
What is it about music that makes me feel passionate?
Because there has to be a passion in there to do it, right? I mean, that's just a given.
It's kind of inexplicable, but I mean, I can tell you that like music affects me like on a physical level. Like when I hear music that I really love, it doesn't, I mean, it might affect me emotionally, but I can feel it on my body. I'm kind of one of the person, I get goosebumps a lot when I listen to music, so it's like that,
So how about when you play though, like playing music for other people, what makes you passionate about that? Is it the reaction from the crowd, the reaction that you get? Because it's kind of a give and take, right? Yeah. We're giving something away, but we're getting something from being up there and playing music. So
right, it takes the whole everything. I feel like everything rises to another level. Like you can make a really fine recording of a song, but when you go play that in front of people, it rises to another level that just doesn't exist any other way, right? So if you want to get in front of people and you want that feeling of I don't know, like feedback from an audience,
sure,
and then just the impact of just being on the stage, right? Because the band is, we're fairly loud, so it's we're a rock band, so it's kind of it's just fun,
But to have the crowd get into it is everything, right? It's like, man, I that's for me. It always has been that. Yep. I just dig that people, like I'm drawing an emotion out of people. And if you do like an old Tom Petty song or something and everybody sings along and you're reminding them of a moment in their life when they first heard that song sometimes. And that's everything. Yeah. For me, I think. So you write some of your own stuff too, right?
Yeah, I do all the writing for the band. Yeah.
Okay. So you do all originals?
Yeah.
Well, you do covers too.
Well, we do covers too, but it depends on the length of the gig, right? Like if we're going to go in and if we're going to play 60, 75 minutes, we'll just do all original stuff, If we're going to play all night from like 8 to 12 or 9 to 1 or whatever, like
then you got
a regular 3-set night, then then we'll do like maybe 50-50.
Sure.
Kind of.
What kind of stuff do you guys like to cover?
Oh, Tom Petty, Elvis Costello, Dave Edmunds, things like that.
Nice.
It's like a kind of classic guitar-y rock.
Sure.
The Stones. We've done Stones tunes.
Yeah.
So
cool.
We did a thing one night where we did a whole. we played most of the originals all night, and then the last set we played just a whole set of the Stones.
Yeah,
And then
right on.
Angel and Rita came up and sang with us, so we did some of those Stones tunes with like backup singers and all
Yeah.
that. It was spectacular.
Huh. That's killer, man. That's awesome.
Yeah. I did that with the Waywards too, and I kind of wish more people would do that. You know, where like we would play a whole record, right? So we would play we played like Hendrix's first record, so we just did the whole record top to bottom. Right?
Nice.
And then we did the Stones, Some Girls. We did that top to bottom. So
That's killer.
yeah, just fun.
I remember seeing you guys. I think you were still the Crash Chords at the time.
Okay.
At Boca Lounge. Would have been 2019?
Maybe.
I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was just like, oh yeah, yep. It's everything I thought it would be. So
Yeah.
just knowing who's in your band and then, the reputation that you have. So really good stuff, man. Really good. So what got you into music? Did you have like some people say there was like a light bulb moment where you went, I got to do this. This has to be part of my DNA.
I think it was when I went from someone who wanted to listen to music to somebody who wanted to then play it, right? And that probably happened when I was about, I don't know, 10 or 11. I realized like I want to play music, so I would record songs off the radio and it's like that. Like
learn them.
Try to teach myself how to play drums just by listening to drummers and things like that. So, and then I think when I was 12, I joined like school band, right? So played clarinet, learned how to read music, all that stuff. And then I was band geek all the way through high school. Started playing in rock bands when I was a teenager.
Ask you if you had some advice to give to a kid who maybe a kid randomly walked into this room and said, hey, you guys, I play guitar. I would love to do this for a living. For one, I would say, do something else because you may never make a living, but if it's something you can't help but you have to do, then here's what you need to do. So what would your advice be for that kid?
My advice to a young person would be first to find a mentor or as close to somebody who is doing what it is that you want to do, right? If you want to play guitar for a living, you go find somebody who's playing guitar for a living and find out what they do. And then either you're going to be able to make it in the market where you live, or you're going to have to go somewhere. That'd be the advice of go find a mentor doing what you're doing, right? And then if you have to move.
Yeah.
And don't think about it. Like if that's what you want, then that's what you got to do.
Yeah, because someone told me a long time ago, a dream without a plan is just an idea. So you can dream about it all day long, but if you don't make plans to really make it happen, you won't make it. So yeah. So do you have an all-time favorite song?
I guess my all-time favorite song would, I don't mean to be non-committal, but I really like the "Fool in the Rain," the Led Zeppelin song.
Oh yeah,
talked about the "Fool in the Rain."
Yeah,
I'd say that's probably one of my favorite songs. Like,
is that because of production or because of the way the song is, or what makes it your favorite song?
Man, it's the whole thing, right? It's that the lyrics are great, the melodies are great. It's Zeppelin doing things that are not super Zeppelin-y. There's the whole like calypso breakdown, right, with the fuzzy guitar solo at the end.
Yeah,
I mean,
From
what's
out of nowhere.
not to love,
Right?
For me, and I don't know, maybe it's just because that song came to me at a particular point in my life. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like there's certain songs, and not saying it's any better than any other song, of course
Yeah.
not, right? But, it came to me at a certain point where it just speaks to me in that same way. I don't know how many years later, 40 years later, it still speaks to me like it did the first time I heard it. So
And that's one of those songs, as soon as you hear it, it's just like, dude, I love this song, man. This is one of those songs.
it just makes you feel good.
It wasn't one of their like big hits or anything as much.
No,
as,
it wasn't. No, not really.
No, that's good. Great song, man.
Yeah. That's it.
So what's the best compliment you've ever received, like from a peer or someone that you looked up to?
I had a drummer one time tell me that I played like a redneck David Gilmour. And I think that's the nicest thing anyone's ever said to me.
Nice. That's a pretty neat saying there.
And that wraps up a lot of what I do about guitar,
Yeah.
just kind of rootsy, but like.
Are you a telly guy?
I go between Telly and Strats.
Yeah.
So I'd say I'm more of a Strat guy. My number one guitar is a Strat.
Okay.
But it's a hardtail Strat. So, and I like it hardtail because it feels more like a Telly.
Sure.
And so probably more of a Strat guy, but I like that, Fendery kind of brighter.
You like that thinner neck?
Yeah. Well, actually my number one Strat, I like Fenders with
Pretty
hefty
beefy?
necks. Yeah, I like
Yeah.
beefy necks on my Fenders. Yeah.
Huh.
Probably more so than most people. Whenever I play a new one, like at the store, the neck always seemed very slim, like a little too thin for me.
Yeah, every Strat I've ever played, it's really a thinner feeling neck.
Right.
I mean, I guess compared to a Les Paul,
Yeah.
because a lot of times the Les Pauls just feel like a big 2x4 in my hand when I'm
They
playing.
can, yeah. They can.
And like I said, I'm just a rhythm player, so it doesn't matter that much. You can barely hear me in the mix, so that's the way I like it. So you played in high school. You just played the clarinet. Did you play any other instruments?
Well, by the time I got to high school, I'd switched over to playing like saxophones in marching band and jazz band.
Okay.
And then I switched to French horn. So like my junior, senior year, I was playing French horn in orchestra and marching band, and I was playing saxophones in the jazz band. So I played like alto, tenor, soprano sax in the jazz band.
Cool.
So here's a good one for you. Like even like all these instruments, and I still have flute, so I can play the flute too. But and I keep those. I have some at home, but I started last year to take piano lessons like properly. Like I'd never
Never really
studied piano. You know, kind of. I mean, I learned guitar informally.
Sure.
Like, hey man, show me what you just
Yeah.
did. You
What
know
was
what I
that?
mean? Yeah, or watching videos or
So
whatever.
how's that going? Piano lessons.
It's great. It's going great, So it's reading, so I'm having to learn to read. I mean, I can read, but read again, like trying to relearn
Sure.
read
Sight
again.
reading stuff.
Yeah, with like playing with both hands, so the coordination is different. Spent so many years coordinating my hands in a certain way. And this hand is always more of the rhythm hand, right? But then when you play, it's your
rhythm's on your left.
Your fingers are kind of like doing
I play keys and piano.
things in opposition,
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'd always played like to just sit down and play some chords or maybe sing a song, like
Sure.
But I never learned how to play like give me a piece of music and I'll play. Kind of.
Yeah.
That's where I'm headed. We'll see.
Cool. Well, that's a testament to the fact that we never stop learning, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
You're only limited by
Yeah.
your thoughts, because as long as you believe you can do it, you can go do it.
Now, my youngest daughter, who's 11, she's studying violin, so she takes lessons at More Music. Shout out to More Music.
Yeah.
And so while she's taking her violin lesson, I go and take my piano lesson. So we kind of go at the same time.
As well as being musicians and all the other things that we are, we're both fathers.
Right.
And I think the most important thing in our lives are our children, and the way that we're raising our children is a reflection of who we are as human beings. So, which I know my children, I have what we call the bigs and the littles. I have 3 olders that are 30, 28, and 25.
Yeah.
And they're all successful and doing their thing, and none of them borrow money from me. So, but they're all doing well, and and their mother and I haven't been married for a long time, but I feel like we both, and my wife now, we've been married for 16 years, so she was a big part of their lives. I think we made good choices, and now the littles I have are 12. My son's 12, and my daughter's 10. So I have 20 years between my youngest and my oldest child.
Yeah.
So, and your daughters are 11 and
15.
And 15,
Yeah.
okay. Those good years where they're finding themselves and finding out who they want to be, and
It is.
all those things.
Yeah.
And I see your posts on Facebook or on Instagram, and I love that you let your children be who they want to be. I love that about you, man. And like I said, we've never really met or hung out or anything. I feel like that'll change after this meeting. But what is one thing that you want your kids to say about you when you're gone?
I want them to say that I was kind.
Okay. For sure.
Yeah.
You're very kind. You're a super genuine person.
Yeah. I don't know what else to, don't know what else to say, A lot of things. I have no expectations of how my children are going to feel about me, That's almost none of my business, right?
Yeah.
So, but I hope that, that they think that I'm kind, like when You know, the way I think about my dad, you know, my dad was he was a good dude, man. He was imperfect, but on balance, you know, he was a really good guy.
Yeah.
So, you know, I just have to accept at a certain point that like, I'm just not in control of these human beings. You know, I can guide them, but you know, in the very end, I really can't control them as much as we might like to think we can, you know? So, you know, but they're good kids. My kids are super good kids. They're very, they're not afraid to kind of, I don't know, be individualistic. You
Sure.
know? So,
And express themselves.
yeah,
and
exactly. That's
Yeah.
kind of what we want for them. And
Yeah,
they're good.
man.
They're both good kids. So,
it's a testament of who we are. We can't control that. At some point, you know, me having older kids, I can speak into that from the standpoint of the best you can do and hope for by the time they're 25 is that they want to talk to you on the phone, you know, and that they want to spend time with
Yeah.
you when you're together, because a lot of people are like,
you call your parents regularly?
I do.
Do you? Me
yeah,
too.
my
Yeah.
mom's been gone 15 years. My
Yeah.
dad lives a block away from me 'cause
Okay.
I moved him here like 7 years ago.
Okay.
So we talk every day. Yeah,
Okay.
he'll come over here some days and hang out while I'm working. So and we just do lunch and
Yeah, my
eat
dad
food
passed
that's not
away
good
a
for
couple
us.
of years ago, but up until that point, we communicated pretty frequently. He was, you know, he just was an old guy with a computer, you know, so it just kind of, you know, he's always on Messenger or whatever. But he was a big
Sure.
fan of music, right? So that's one of the things that got me into music was the fact that my dad was just a big fan of music too. So
Yeah.
Oh,
So, but I get to talk to my daughters. My oldest daughter calls me every morning. Like after we drop our kids off, I drop mine off at the bus stop and she drops hers off at school. We talk sometimes for like an hour about nothing, just about life. And every day I think, man, how blessed am I that my daughter wants to talk to me. I don't know if it's because I'm the only person available at that time of the day
yeah.
or what, but we talk about everything and we
Yeah.
don't pull any punches. And that's just something I've always admired about you from afar, I guess, is you can always see that even when I see you in public, you're with your kids and it's always a good thing, you know?
Yeah.
So
Well, we get out and
that's-
do a lot of stuff. You know, the girls want to, we travel a lot, right? So whenever we have vacations, we always travel either to the East Coast to see my family. We've been to Asheville, North Carolina a lot because it's got about halfway in between, you know, so we'll go there and stay for a few days and just go down to Nashville and, you know, stuff, just kind of just go to Cincinnati, which I'm going to do over spring break.
Yeah.
Cincinnati
show
for a
them,
few days.
show them some of the world, right? That's the
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah, so they can kind of see what's, you know, what else is out there, you know, what it's like, you know, for better or worse, you know. That's
Yeah. Let's do this. Tell me look into this camera and tell the folks at home where they can find you online, all your .coms and all your stuff. We'll do that real quick.
Yeah. I'm Toby Ellis of Toby Ellis and the Breakdown. You can find me on Facebook at facebook.com/Toby Ellis Rocks and across almost any social media platform under the name Toby Ellis Rocks.
Okay. Awesome.
And there's easy, or TobyEllis.com. So I own www.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you can get cool pics
Yeah.
like that. Look at that.
Come see us in
there.
June. We'll be with the Randys and you can.
Yeah, it's got
Have
his
a cool
picture
pic.
on it. And then you get these cool shirts. I got one. This is super cool. Toby Ellis and the Breakdown. Those are killer. You can go purchase those online, I guess.
Yeah.
Or come see them live and get one.
Or
That's
come
even
see us
better.
live. That's where the money is, man. That's where it's at. So,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah, for sure. So what do you have coming up this summer as far as gigs and stuff?
Well, you know, that's a really good question. Right now, the only thing that I have on the books is the June 17th with the Randys at the Arts Council downtown, like a rooftop gig.
Yeah,
I think that's like at 7:00. And right now, I think that's the only thing that we have booked right now. So
right on. Toby, I appreciate you, man. And I
yeah,
really,
thanks for having me.
I
appreciate
just
it.
really love what you bring to the musical community matters if you don't know that. And what you're doing is great. And I love that you're here and doing your thing here and blessing our area of the world with who you are as a person and as a dad and as a human being and as a musician, man. I think it's great. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for hanging out in the Stories and Songs podcast today with me and my friend Toby Ellis. Be sure to go online and check him out, everythingtobyellis.com. And we'll see you in the next one.